I don't know that I could speak to exactly, which children would be, of course, philosophically, I would want access for all 55,000 residents to have equally have the best opportunity to enrich the life of their child. That would be always my philosophical goal. I couldn't speak to at this point. I mean, we wouldn't even know what grades it would be. I mean, we're so far from that. The question was, is this something that I would look into? And the answer is absolutely. I mean, we've got, by the way, amazing teachers and administrators in our school district that work so hard to provide for our community. But the facts are the facts. We've been in the 50s out of 67 counties for really going on generations. And I think anytime, I don't care if it's a city operation or a city function or a school district function, anytime that we've lacked to have consistent success, we should be looking at everything. I mean, and then so that's how I enter it, very open-minded, not in any way adversarial to the efforts of the school district and all those hardworking teachers and saying that they aren't doing a good job. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think, but when you've been in the 50s out of 67 counties for as long as I can remember, we should, I feel like it's the duty of this job, of this city, for the parents and the kids here, if there's some action I can take that improves outcomes for them, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to look at it. A lot of conversation about whether a master development at Baptist someday down the road was built around a school. That's an example. There's some successful university schools around the state. I think there's 6 of them now, like FSU High and Florida High, as they call it, and others. That's a conversation potentially with the UWF or whatever down the road. There's a lot of different ways that we could go about it, but right now we're not allowed to do anything. And I think being in a position where we can start to play an active role in that, and if that improves outcomes, then we're absolutely going to look at it. Look, I'm encouraged by proactivity, as I said, and I think that action is the same thing I'm talking about, which is that when the results aren't what we want them to be, what I want to see is activity, and certainly as just a citizen here, and not as part of the school district. So I'm encouraged by that step. Let's hold up the mirror and figure out where we are and what we can do. And I think maybe perhaps over the years, over the generations, there's been a lot of rationalization of, well, we perform at this level because of this student, this income, this, and that becomes the rationalization of inaction. So I'm always encouraged by not rationalizing, but actually holding up the mirror and let's try to figure out the best path forward. And I think that dovetails into your first question, which is, I mean, it's my duty, I believe, as mayor of the city to figure out what's the best for the children of this community. And if there's some role I can play in that, absolutely. I think I'd be doing our children a disservice if I didn't look at it.
Have you spoken to Mr. Leonard about Representative Andrade's bill?
I haven't, but not for any reason. I mean, we haven't had that conversation yet. But I'm sure I'm happy to have that. I'm sure he is too. We have an open line of communication. Just saw him last week, and he knows that and I've had my not with Keith specifically. I've had my I guess interactions with the school district over the years, for sure. But we rise above principle. And what I mean is, if we're really walking the walk and saying what's best for our children, well, we're not getting in philosophical debates about appointed versus elected or anything like that. At the end of the day, we got to have a clear path forward that makes it better for the city. And so, yeah. And look, I mean, remember, there's other data we don't know. For example, I mean, there's schools in the county that have city children in them, right? Because they don't divide the line of your zone by the city versus the county. So how many city children are at struggling schools right outside the city, right? So there's that factor, and vice versa. Because it's never been delineated that way, understandably, because that line hasn't mattered in terms of the school district. So I mean, we'd have to really take a look at that. But again, I approach this in exploratory mode. I think it's my duty as mayor to improve educational outcomes for the children of the city, and any way that we can do that, address that. I mean, that's not going to necessarily be something that I'm an opportunity that I'm going to let pass us by. We're going to take a look at it, and if there's a way that we can feasibly, realistically make that happen where it is a positive outcome, then we'll continue to entertain it.
Martha Nichols on the port study, the reimagined the port, there was a discussion of a charter at the port. Have you heard anything more about that?
I haven't. I haven't. We're even starting to work on some of the fundamental conversations of the Moffitt Nichols about the north side of the port, and how that's our economic development office is looking at that, where we still have the cargo side, the south side of the port. So we've got some more pins to knock down on the Moffitt Nichols study right now before we get to any kind of school or charter school there. But I would think, this is just me speculating. If we were to get into that, I think the campus, the Baptist Hospital campus, and what the master development there, that playing a role in housing and all of those other things. When you talk about 50 acres potentially, I think that probably seems like, if we were going to speculate on locations, that seems to be something that and has precedent. If you look at Bayou District Foundation in New Orleans, the project down in Orlando, there's some precedent for school anchors that support developments, master developments of affordable housing and things like that like this. So that seems to be probably a little lower hanging fruit, I would say, than the port would be at this point.